welcome everybody to our CryEngine stream for 5.3 release. I am Yamina. You might know me as Cry-Nic from Reddit or the forums. I'm the community manager for CryEngine, and I'm here with Samuel.
Hi.
Who's the lead software engineer and architect of Sandbox.
That's right.
That's correct. And behind the scenes we have Alex, who's our senior user experience designer, who will demo some stuff for us later. And we are here to talk about the new features that we have been bringing with 5.3. A lot of you guys have been looking forward to this, I believe. So, yeah, Sam, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do on CryEngine.
Yeah, so I guess some of the community already knows me. I've been a little bit present on the previous stream and the forums and everything, but yeah, I mostly maintain the editor. I'm driving this effort to improve and renew our tools in general, not just the editor, but all the different aspects of working with CryEngine.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very exciting release for us because this is where we are finally committing to the newer vision of CryEngine. So you know, I guess the community has been a little bit divided on the issue, but since last year we have introduced a new iteration of our tools, and we've been polishing it so far. We've been polishing it internally and with community feedback, and now comes the time where this new iteration is mature enough. So for this 5.3, for the first time, the legacy, what we call the legacy sandbox editor, is not going to be available anymore.
Yeah, we are switching to a Qt-based editor, right?
Exactly. So that's going to give us a variety of benefits. I think one of the most important benefits here is for us to be able to expand upon this editor much easier, because essentially the nuts and bolts behind will be a lot easier to work with. This will also give us the possibility of going multi-platform going into the future, meaning that we could be supporting macOS, we could be supporting Linux, desktop platforms.
Definitely, yeah.
I think there is a public for that. There is.
Oh yes, yeah. We get questions. We get a lot of questions about especially Mac support, but also Linux. So this is good news, guys.
Exactly, this is good news. This is us going into that direction. I can't promise anything for tomorrow, but it's definitely setting us into that direction. Another major benefit for this new editor is that we are making it so that the community or you know, third-party basically entities can extend it, can create plugins, can you know, add functionality there that
you can customize it. Basically, you can add functionality depending on your own workflows.
Exactly. You could create a new plugin that is specific to your workflow, or you could create. You could imagine that you are someone making game technology. You could integrate your product with CryEngine. So we're going to see a lot of different integrations that are that have been requested by the community are now possible. So this enables a lot of things. And if out there you're a programmer, you would like to improve CryEngine, you would like to bring a new feature, then you can create a plugin, you can sell it on the asset store, and you know, you can also, I guess, make some money with this.
That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying community building, right?
Exactly. So this is very much a move for the community. Now we understand that some people may be a little bit upset with the changes, and we recognize that, and we're going to be also monitoring the feedback to see what are the most urgent issues, and we're also monitoring this internally, as we have, you know, internal game teams here at Crytek that are working with this on a day-to-day basis.
When it comes to anything that you want to add to this, if you have any feedback at all, just come to us, come to me basically. Post it on the forums. I'm also on Reddit, like on Twitter, Facebook. You can definitely let us know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
and when you're finding any issues, I believe we have a public bug tracker now on GitHub, right?
Yeah, that's new. You can now. This is mostly, I guess, for programming issues, because GitHub is where we do the source code release, and so this would be more appropriate for someone that wants to submit a bug with a fix, I guess. But there's an issue
tracker in the launcher as well. So if you are having like other issues, basically you can also submit it on the launcher, and will get right back to us, and we can take care of it basically.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you want to contribute, help us fix it.
Yeah.
It's a community effort, basically. We're trying to provide everything that we can.
Yes, and I mean there are also there are bugs that we can't always identify ourselves, and so
Exactly.
if you're having a problem, either let us know, and if you have the possibility, if it's an easy fix, then might as well contribute it back. I mean, this will only help everyone. So yeah, this is a new channel. I think it's going to prove helpful, especially for the programmer community of CRYENGINE. But in general, we're trying to be very, very reactive. I mean, you're always getting in touch with me if you want answers. So I'm always also here behind the scenes, behind the Twitter.
Yes.
Once in a while.
I have the full support of the whole team, which
exactly.
I appreciate. So yes, we do care. You guys care, and so far so good. I think a lot of these features that we have been presenting are really long time requested features. So we are really getting there, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, this release is very, very exciting for us. It's a lot of features we've been building up to up until now, and we didn't really have the time to put them into the last one, but this one really sets a big benchmark, I think, for CRYENGINE. I hope this is going to be one of the most stable releases. We're going to see now that it's been a few days, so we still don't have
fingers crossed.
We still don't have good metrics of that, but I hope and I have good faith that this is going to be one of the
so on the front lines
quality.
I can say, like, so on Twitter and stuff, usually if something crashes, people are like, okay. So I already heard that somebody said the new editor is very good, it's very stable.
All right,
so
that's awesome. Then I can go on holiday happy.
Happy Christmas.
Yeah, that's how they say it. How do you say this in German?
Fröhliche Weihnachten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Learn something every day.
Right, so I think we have a couple of hot topics that we want to be talking about today. So first of all, we have the new asset browser.
Right. I mean, this is one of the most important feature, and we're going to show you this a little bit later, I guess. Maybe we should just go over all the major points to start with.
Right. What's on the list? Let me quickly check what people in chat have been saying.
Yeah, I can cover a few points that we have there for this release. If you haven't read the release notes, I suggest you go and do that. There's going to be this in more detail, but some of the most important features is the introduction of an asset browser. This is going to enable you to really control your project and understand what kind of data is in your project. And we are going to build this as kind of being the center of everything in terms of workflow. I think another of the biggest expected features was Schematic.
Definitely.
This is
very definitely, yes.
This is kind of our new approach to building entities in CRYENGINE, and moving forward, we want this to be the main and kind of only way to build entities and to script entities. We used to have Lua scripting, and I think we're going to progressively move away from this and focus on node-based, because this is very, very powerful, and
that has a lot of people very, very excited.
Yes, and you should see what designers can come up with once they understand how to set it up. It's a lot of power in the hands of everyone, and it's very easy to learn, very easy to get into. So this is another one of the major features.
What about the entity system rework?
Yes, so we did a lot of backend changes related to this. As I said, it's about simplifying the process for building custom entities. So that could be custom scripted objects for your game, or like AIs, NPCs, something in your game, something quite complex in your game. Before we had a system that was powerful, but didn't really fit the architecture of what we're going for with the Schematic. So we had to take a step back and try to unify all of this. So moving forward, the Schematic and the entity system are much more in line together.
So we reworked it so it can basically function.
It can work better. So the principle behind building entities is very similar to what you would find in other game engines out there. It's essentially an entity is made of a certain number of components, and each component adds a little bit of functionality. So, for example, you can add a light component to an entity, and it's gonna emit light. I think this is part of the demo that we're doing later as well. So we can show this
so
a little bit more live.
It's going to be a show and tell, basically. So we can go into more detail later
as well,
and see how that works out. Awesome.
So essentially, this release is two major, let's say, axes of development in terms of what you can see as a user, and a lot of rework in the backend to make it more stable, more robust, more ready for the future.
Cool. Yeah, so far so good. Seem to have been working out for most of the people that I have been talking to online so far.
Okay, that's great. That's our hope. That's this is what makes us happy to put more effort into this.
Awesome.
Push it further.
Very good. So we have physics support.
Okay, that's another big one actually.
Yeah.
This is again, this is more targeted as a programmer, the programmer audience. But before, when you use CRYENGINE,
I'm very sure programmers are out there.
Okay. Hi, programmers. Basically, this is trying to give you freedom. I mean, one of the philosophies that we're trying to push here with CRYENGINE is freedom of choice. And choice of technology is very important.
Yeah.
So if you want to make a game with CryPhysics, which was what we always supported, which is developed here in-house, you can make a game with CryPhysics. It's free. It's packaged with the engine. But we want to make it possible for you to use different, maybe physics engine.
But both will still be there, right? You have the ability to choose, basically.
You have the ability to choose, and then you can choose which one suits your needs better. Maybe one of them has more features. Maybe one of them has better performance. There's a variety of physics engine out there, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't want to be limited. They want to be able to choose their technology. We're doing this. We're doing the same thing, for example, for audio. Audio technology. You can choose today to work with Fmod, with Wise, and with a little bit more bare bones solution. If you don't need such audio capability, maybe it's better for you to go with a bare bones solution and to free up some memory, some processing
So you're
power.
basically like what we want to do and what you are doing now more is just enabling people to make their choice
Exactly.
and also customize their workflows to the way that suits their needs best, basically.
Exactly. So,
Awesome.
and this translates into everything. I mean, a lot of the rework we've done is to enable modularity. I think this is the keyword, modularity, and you can choose and pick and choose, the modules that you need, and you can craft, let's say, an engine package that suits your game's, needs.
Yes.
And
the size of your team and
exactly.
basically the experience that your team's having. And,
Exactly. And at the same time, we want to always provide a free alternative. We're really big believers in setting out this technology out there to be used and to be free. So, however, there are a lot of very interesting pieces of technology that aren't free. And we also want to provide the possibility for more ambitious teams to use that. So physics is one of the first steps for us. It's a good case to see if we can work with different physics engines and see how the engine supports that in all of the facets involved. But yeah, so moving forward, we should expect more.
Yeah. So there are many branches, and no matter if you're a small indie developer that just is alone and builds their own systems and maybe for fun or whatever, up to really professional teams.
Exactly.
Everybody has something, you have a solution for everybody.
There should be something for everybody,
engine,
and different teams will certainly make different choices. That's great. This is what games have always been about. This trying to tailor your technology to what you're doing. Don't do too much. Don't overdo it. You don't want to use the jackhammer to hammer nails, basically.
Some people do. I mean, whatever floats your boat.
And if you want to,
now you can.
You should be able to.
Exactly, you should be able to do this.
You have to have some fun as well.
Definitely, it's all about fun. Right. So we covered a great deal of these things. You want to say something about the CMake build system? Programming heavily, compiling.
Yeah. Again, this is also
the heavy stuff.
Programming, but I think this is an effort also to make working with the engine easier. Right now we were using the WAF build system, which is a very powerful system, but it's also a little bit more obscure. It's not as well supported by the community. CMake is quite standard. CMake has a huge support out there in the open source community and a lot of contributors. So in general, we're asking for everybody that is working with CRYENGINE right now to make the effort to switch. But that will pay off in the long run because this is something that is getting to be fairly standard. So if you're having a problem with CMake, you're not limited to the CRYENGINE documentation or the CRYENGINE support. You can just go and use your favorite search engine and go, hey, I have this problem with CMake, and you might even find the answer very easily. So this is again an effort to make it more accessible I think all of these different developments, they really follow similar philosophy behind it. Accessibility and freedom of choice, and just going for something that is more standard. I think that is just going to make it easier for people to get into this and for the community to grow.
Yeah. I touched this because like compiling is a big thing in the community. Like there's a lot of discussion about it. So I thought,
we need to make this just more accessible.
Exactly.
So, I'm not expecting everyone in the CRYENGINE community to be downloading the code and building and submitting some bug fixes back to us. This is not what we expect. But if you're a programmer there,
but it would be nice though.
Of course, it would be nice if you can do it.
It would be appreciated, definitely. I mean,
of course. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely going to take every contribution seriously. But even if you don't do that, I want all of them to have a good experience, right? I'm a programmer myself, and I know that good experience is what makes me want to dig more, makes me want to play with this.
Yeah.
If it's not fun, then
you want to be able to focus on what you want to achieve, basically.
Exactly.
And not be like hindered by hurdles that are put in your way by the tools that you're using.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is we're trying to clear the path. So this is what this release is. And again, all of these features, a few of these features are kind of an early preview, and this is very important to communicate. In particular, the asset browser and the schematic are a very early preview, and the reason for this is that we want to get it out there as soon as it's ready, which is now, but we're definitely not finished with it. This is not, you shouldn't expect to get the finished product, and the most important part...
It's a beta release, basically, so that means that everybody who's using it can be testing it, but it would be awesome if we get your feedback, because you can really help us make it better and reshape it if necessary, and to see what options we still have.
Exactly.
Because right now, I mean, it's like, especially Schematic is shipped with limited capabilities, right?
Exactly.
But like for programmers and stuff, you can still code your own nodes. Everything.
You can add your own functionality in it. This is one of the basic principle behind it. You can add new nodes that the designers can then use to build more complicated node systems. So, and again, this is similar with the asset browser. We're releasing something that covers let's say the whole range of functionality that it's supposed to have, but it doesn't always have the breadth everywhere, right? So in terms of all the nodes that could be available in Schematic, we may not have everything yet. But we have a subset that you can start working with. You can start giving us feedback. Hey, I'm having problems with this. How would I build that? And the asset system is the same thing. We're giving it here to be used so that the basic user experience, we can get some feedback on it. But it's definitely not complete, and there are only a few features to demonstrate sort of the concept behind it and the idea behind it. And I think the next release, the 5.4 release, should be where both these systems, the asset system and the schematic, really
come together.
Come together and take the central position that they will both have in the CRYENGINE workflow. Right?
So that means you still have plenty of time to submit your input, your feedback as a community, and to just let us know what you think about this, because we're definitely listening and
Absolutely, and it never ends, right? I'm not...
Exactly. Development is an ongoing process.
Absolutely, and this is also something I want to stress out with the editor in general, where people sometimes feel like, oh, this is the new thing I have, and I don't like it, and it's going to be stuck like this forever. It's not stuck like this in any way, and we're always refining what we have. We're always...
There have been a couple of tears shed about the legacy editor, but I have to say most people that I've been seeing, like the most feedback that I've been seing, they were very much in favor of the Qt-based editor. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, we also shed some tears a little bit and popped some champagne as well to celebrate its passing.
Wash away the tears with champagne. I like it.
Unfortunately, this is just how development has to go. Sometimes we have to take big leaps, and it might be a little bit harder transition than if we didn't, but we could never go where we're going now if we didn't take this big leap. So it's very important to do this, and we will rebuild. We're building solid foundations, and we can now reach much higher than we ever could before. So I think that's the important message here.
Exactly. Reach higher, achieve, right?
Exactly.
It's about achieving. Cool. So I think we talked about the most major things. We have improvements in the FBX pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, this is another example of us continuing to iterate and
to deliver things we promised. I mean, we do, right? It's a work in progress, but we keep getting better.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people saw the potential in the FBX pipeline, but it was a little bit limited.
Exactly,
in the 5.2 release. So with this release, I'm not sure of all the details, but I think we are fully supporting characters, rigged characters, import, which we're going to demo a little bit later. And we fixed a lot of edge cases, a lot of things that weren't fully supported. So I think by now the FBX pipeline is on par with the exporter pipeline that we had before. And it's also ready, very, very soon ready to replace it fully. Internally, we're going to be even switching people to use the FBX pipeline in full, just so we can get the covering all the features, making sure that everything works there. But in general, I think it's okay for people now to be fully committing into the FBX pipeline. This is where we're going, and if you're building your game today, you shouldn't be using the exporters. This is something that's going to go away, and something that doesn't work as well with the new asset system. So really, the FBX pipeline is the way to go. I think it's very promising. It's very
we really it sounds like we're really pulling everything together, and now all the functionality actually leads to a smooth workflow, right?
Exactly. Everything has to fit into the big picture. I'm really happy to see that all the pieces are finally coming along together. It's been a lot of effort.
Awesome. Yeah.
So, very exciting for me as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, would you say that it's do people need to be worried, if they are having projects, if you build a project for years, on CryEngine, now suddenly everything changes, people might find it's a bit daunting?
I don't think they have to be worried. I think there is going to be a time to adapt, but we're always providing a way to upgrade. So anything that you've made before is still valid, will still work, and we're going to provide you a way to make sure your project can be upgraded and run with the new version. Obviously, you might have to do a little bit of programming work, but this is just how it has to be. But I don't think there is anything that should be blocking you. Don't necessarily jump on the new version as they come out. If you're in the final stages of your project, if you're close to alpha, beta with your game, there's a point where you should because if you change things, there's always something that's gonna break. That's a risk. That's a risk. But if you're early, if you're experimenting, if you're in the beginning of your game, then go ahead. Just be on the latest version and be with the latest workflows, because you can learn this today, and all the bases that we're setting up today, they're not going to change. We're putting all the stepping stones to the vision that we want, but that vision is very clear and it's not going to change. The only transition is from sort of the legacy workflow to this workflow. But once you're there, you will be good for a long time.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Okay. So I think we almost covered all of them. The F key workflow.
Yeah, this is
it's a rather it's not as big as the others, but a lot of people might appreciate this, I think.
Yes, I think this is a good. It's just a good help. It's just going to make you faster, right? So it's also about trying to bring logic in all the keywords. The keyboard shortcuts. So what I want you to have is that all the F keys are sort of your command keys, and you can always go back to that and jump to the right place. So I don't remember all the functionality, but if you press F1 in anywhere in the editor, this is gonna open the documentation page that is relevant for you. So imagine if you're in the if you're in the Level Explorer and you press F1, you're gonna go to the Level Explorer documentation. And this is something that we're really proud of.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like a small thing in comparison, but it improves your workflow just so much if you
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean it's a series of things like this that we put on the F keys. So it's something like F1 is the documentation, F2 is going to be browse your project, use the asset browser, F3 is find. This is pretty standard. F4 will be to go back to the level editor. Imagine you're doing something different and you just want to see what's happening in your level. Just press F4, it brings the level editor back.
Awesome,
very fast. F5 is to start your game. So that's what used to be Control G. It's also Control G today, but F5 is a new shortcut that we introduced.
That you can always have everything together.
Yeah, so you have it all there. and F5 is also very familiar for programmers. F5 is the button to run the program, so it's kind of
so it just makes sense. Like it's similar to other applications.
It's similar to other applications, exactly. Yeah. And F7 is the shortcut to export to game, which was Control E before. So, and F12 is to take a screenshot. So there you go. We're trying to do a little bit more things there. Some social features, some documentation features, some useful features. But I think everybody will appreciate having at their fingertips all these quick actions.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is cool. Just another iteration, and we'll be doing more of that, and we'll be doing more polish and more, enabling easier workflows as we go. So I'm also looking forward more to the next version, but let's not get there yet.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No.
Yeah, just looking here if there are any questions right now to the stuff that we have been talking about. But is there a plan? I see. Yeah, there's lots of questions.
We can come back to them later. Maybe
I think we can come back to them later. Yeah. Yeah. I think we can probably, now that we talked so much about these things, in theory, actually show a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because we prepared a demo. Like Alex, like I said, our senior user experience designer, he prepared a demo level for us.
Yes, we prepared very, very simple things there, and we also wanted to show you how to use the asset browser and how to use the schematic a little bit more live, a little bit more interactive. So let's do it. Let's open the asset browser. I think that would be the first thing. So just very quickly here, but the asset browser kind of looks like a file explorer dialog. It's very similar to if you're using Windows, it's very similar to your Windows Explorer, and that's very much intended. So this should be a way to sort of browse and see the overview of your project. Everything that's in your project, everything that you made is available here. So on the left side, you see all the folders, and if you click on a folder on the left side, you're going to see what's inside. Obviously, you can even select multiple folders on the left side and see. It's just going to show you everything that's inside. So you can do pretty aggressive selections like this. And if you see on the top, you can do like back and forward, so you can go back to where you were before, and everything that you're kind of familiar with.
Basically, everything that you could do in any Windows application.
Yeah, pretty much. It's your Windows Explorer, but just for your CRYENGINE project.
Awesome.
And then on the right side, you can see, on the middle side, I guess, of the asset browser, you can see the content. And if you maybe go somewhere where there are assets, like go inside objects or something like this, somewhere where we can see some assets. If you go inside there, you're going to see eventually, like, okay, here are some assets. So here we can see some meshes and some materials. And we even have a preview window on the right, so when you select something, you can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
This we're going to improve a little bit as well. I mean, this is what we could do for this release. But essentially, you can pretty clearly have an overview of your project from the asset browser alone. And we want to have as many features as we can that can fit in the asset system. So
Alex has fans, by the way. Go Alex, go Alex.
Yeah, go Alex. Doing good. Showing us some textures. Maybe one thing I would like to show, if you can go to a folder that has some meshes, or just type mesh. This is also something that's quite interesting. Yeah, do that. Yeah, I can talk about this a little bit. So you see, if you type in the top bar, you can type. It's not only going to search in the name. Let's say if I type tree, you see, it has found the trees. But he also typed mesh, right? So it's going to find all the tree meshes. I mean, this is really intuitive. You can type whatever you want. I mean, just type in like tree texture. Maybe you'll find all the tree textures, right?
So it's just sorting it. You have all your assets in there, and it's just sorting it like a Google search bar, basically.
Exactly. It's like a Google search bar. It's maybe not as smart as Google, because Google, they're pretty good. But basically, it's not only important part of this is that it's not only searching into the name. It's also searching in various other fields that we're showing here. So the texture would be one, but imagine we have another field for, let's say, texture size, for example. Then you could type, for example, tree texture 1024, and you would see all the textures that are of that size.
So really have a lot of keywords that you can use to basically limit your search and to get exactly what
so you can make a more complex search. The texture preview thing is not a little bit buggy. We still have to fix it. Maybe just hide it for now.
It's a beta.
Well, yeah, this preview window, I mean, this is... I can say this on stream. I'm pretty confident that I can say that this preview window is not what we want to have in the end. I mean, today we have this kind of table view here, but in the next release, we definitely will have a more thumbnail view, like a grid view, where you can see all the icons and all the previews at the same time. Right now, you have to click one and see one. It might take a lot of time if you have a lot of textures or if you have a lot of meshes. Just one big window where you can see everything.
That's pretty impressive, especially when you have a big project and a lot of assets. So
quite
a lot to handle, right?
This is exactly for this. It's because projects get really messy.
Exactly.
I mean, I've worked on games that had hundreds of thousands of assets. How do you find something in there? How do you find things that are maybe I don't know, like faulty or have a problem? This is there to help you with this. I mean, let's show this. Can you
type in needle in a haystack?
No. Can you okay, if you right click on the columns up there, like where the other names are, you can show different columns. Like let's show triangle count, and this is a good example. So now if you just filter by meshes, like resume your filter and remove grass. There we go. Now we see all the meshes of the project, and we can filter them, right? And we can see which is the mesh that has the most polygons in it. So this could be very useful if you have something that's just way over budget. You could very easily find it. And so this mesh is actually a full room. So it's for something that big, it's maybe okay that it has that many polygons. But let's say if you would have found something that's like a tiny little detail which had 87,000 polygons, maybe it's a problem. I don't know. Depends, right? So again, this is just a proof of concept. Right now we only have a few metrics in there, such as poly count, but everything will have more details such as this. So you can do advanced searches. So you can say, hey, please show me all the meshes that are above a certain threshold. It's very good if you have a lot of people working on your game and you just want to make sure that nobody's making any mistakes or anything like this.
Especially when you have a bigger team and many people are making choices on their own, basically.
Exactly. Like if people are just modeling and making art and it's all happy, it's all fun and games until someone goes out of memory.
Until someone goes out of fun and games. Until someone goes out of memory. That's a good one. Actually, we should print that on a T-shirt. Yeah.
Okay, that's another cool feature here. Like you can, if you click on the top left next to the search bar, you can see all the assets that you have favorited. So when you click on the little star, there we go. So this is all the ones that Alex has been clicking, and it looks like he really likes all these meshes. And so if you want to see them really fast, I mean, you can just click there and you see all the things that you've been favoriting. So this can just make your workflow really fast, right? You just favorite all the things that you're using or things that you're working on regularly, maybe all the effects that you've made yourself, and you can just find them very fast.
That's like maximum convenience.
Exactly. So this is really what we're going for. And we're going to add more and more and more useful features in there. We can't go through everything, but it's documented basically. Most important part is this. You have folders, you have all the details here, and you have the preview. And next iteration, you'll have all the thumbnails and kind of like better preview. What we also wanted to show there is a few extra features that are available for 5.3. So maybe let's show how we can import something in there. We might have to remove the favorites thing now, because otherwise you're not going to see anything. Yeah, so now he's just creating a new folder in which he's going to import his asset. So there are two different ways you can import an FBX file, or different types of files. One, there's a file menu in the asset browser. You can just say like file import. And the other more convenient one is just to drag and drop.
Yeah.
So you create a folder and select that folder, and just drag and drop your source FBX inside, and it's just gonna work. We want it to be that simple.
No rubber duck this time.
So yeah, Alex, maybe you can show a little bit more in Blender what you've made, but essentially it's a rigged and skinned mesh. It's a lamp, and so now it's just
I was about to say last time it was a rubber duck.
Yeah, last time it was a rubber duck. So yeah, now we're just gonna drag and drop.
This is more complex, definitely. Let's see.
A little bit more complex.
Improvements.
So you see now he's just drag and drop the FBX into this folder, and boom. What do we have here?
Simple.
We have 4 animations. We have the materials. We have the skeleton. We have the character. We have the mesh, and we have the skinned mesh. There are different types of meshes for us. If you hold control while you drag and drop, you can also choose what you want. Maybe I drag and drop the FBX, and I only wanted to have, I don't know, just the animation or something. Anyway, so now you got everything. And we also can place things in the level. So if you drag and drop from the asset browser into the level, yeah, you get your mesh placed. So this is kind of an example of how we want this to be the center of the workflow. This is where you browse. This is where you import. This is where you find things to place into the level. So one thing people need to understand is that all the ways that they have right now to place assets into the level are in the Create Objects window here on the top left. This is probably going to go in favor of the asset browser because the asset browser is just that much more powerful.
Okay, good.
So it's not like we want to have 50 different ways of doing one thing. We want to have one way that makes a lot of sense.
Streamline the workflow, basically.
Exactly. So asset browser will be the place to do everything: importing, browsing, finding, filtering. And of course, taking things into your game into other places. So if you have, let's say if you're in the inspector and there's a field that's supposed to be a mesh or a texture, then you could just drag and drop from there.
Okay, so it's really like it's maximum convenience. It's your Lego box.
Exactly, it's the crate of Legos. And this is why we put this on what I think is a really useful shortcut, which is F2. So can you just press F2 a few times? Just for, there we go. So this just toggles the asset browser. So anytime you want the asset browser, press F2, it's there, right? Awesome. So it's just there for you. If you want more of it, there's always a need for more asset browsing. You can just create one here and dock it. So you can create as many as you want, and you could like pre-filter them. For example, I can create an asset browser.
I see.
And here I could just pre-filter it and just show only, let's say, particles. Because maybe
so you already have your tabs ready.
You already have your tabs ready.
Everything's there,
so you can customize it the way you want in your layout. You can do whatever you want. But the F2 is always there for you.
Yeah.
F2, even if you do this, you see he has 2 asset browsers there. If he presses F2, he's still going to get another one. Or at least the same one. This one, remembers what you were doing in it. So that's kind of the gist of it. Again, this is very, very early preview, and the point is not to make you, work exclusively with the asset browser yet. This is obviously the long-term goal.
Yeah.
The point today is to test, because this asset browsing requires a little bit of changes in the data and how the data is. And so this is where we're not sure, because there's so many people using CRYENGINE, there's so many projects out there.
And there are so many workflows as well. So people have different workflows and different ways to tackle things. So basically this is the starting point where people can start to get used to it, and then they can still give us more input on what is more convenient for them and what changes they might
absolutely
have.
There are 2 separate but related concerns. There is this how does it fit into people's existing ways to work, and there's purely technical concern that
how does it fit in the code?
That it works, that it manages to take your existing CRYENGINE project and upgrade it to work with the asset system.
Which is a big concern, I guess. Like I said, for a lot of people.
This is the biggest concern. For me, I'm really interested to know if upgrading your project fails. Again, this is all documented, so upgrading the projects is just a button click, but I'm really interested to see if this works for everyone, because as long as I can reliably be backwards compatible, then it's fine. Then we can keep improving on the asset system, right? So
yeah.
Most important for me is that people can upgrade from a 5.2 project into a 5.3 project that uses the asset system.
So people, if you are having projects that you're upgrading right now, just let us know, because it's really important for us to not break your things unnecessary.
Of course.
So yeah, just if you import your project, if you upgrade, just let us know what works, what doesn't for you, the workflows or the issues, the bugs that you're finding. It's really appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe one more thing we can show. Alex, if you could go on disk, just show the lamp that you just imported. Because this is one thing that's a bit different. Right, so I think it's objects, lamp. Okay, so here, I guess the main difference that you're going to notice if you've been using CryEngine before is that you have all these little CryAsset files next to all the other regular files. So this is the major change here. When you upgrade your project, you should see all these CryAsset files get created into your project, and these CryAsset files are what we use to save all the extra information we need for the asset system to work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess the most important thing, if you're not working just alone on your project, is these CryAsset files need to go into your version control.
So this needs, everybody needs to
commit these files to their version control, so you can share. Maybe one day I could save some notes in there. Maybe you create your lamp and you create a note and you say, wow, this is my awesome lamp I made. I took all my free time to make this awesome lamp, and it would be saved there. And then if you would then get it on your machine, you want to see this comment, you want to see this note. So obviously, if you don't put this file in the version control,
the next person who's working with it can't possibly know. But yeah,
exactly. So this information will be lost again. This is not ideal right now because people are doing version control manually, so they will have to do this manually. But the next version of this asset browser, we want to integrate source control inside the asset browser. So you don't even have to do this manually. You don't even have to worry anymore.
Convenience.
Did I do this right? Did I put all the files in? It's just going to do it for you.
Awesome.
So this is the main next step for us is going to be version control integration. I think this is to make sure that people can collaborate properly on this. It's going to be integrating this asset browser a little bit everywhere. Right now, you can drag and drop things into the level, but I want every single different type of asset to be integrated with this, that you can import them, that you can double-click edit them.
But it sounds like cat herding just got a lot easier.
Basically, yeah. But then I don't know if you should be developing games with your cat. Maybe. Never know. Depends the cat, I guess. What else is cool about this? Yeah, a lot of features are going into this. I mean, I don't want to drag too long, but it's the version control. I think is one of the biggest missing parts of our workflow right now. It's a little bit hard to do this manually. It opens a lot of potential mistakes. So yeah, all of the features we're going to add there is about preventing mistakes.
The devil is in the detail, as you know, and there are a lot of details that you need to remind and that are part of your workflow when you're building a thing so complex and big. So yeah.
Exactly. I just want to make it easier for you as a designer, as an artist, using the CryEngine. I just want to make your life easier, and by doing this, I can hide a lot of things from you that are, complexities that you shouldn't worry about, right?
I mean, who doesn't would like their lives to be easier?
Exactly.
Basically.
Well, this is
Alex raises his head. Oh yes.
So hopefully this is making Alex's life easier. All right, but again, we haven't covered everything, but it's all documented, and we also have our forums opened for questions and feedback, I guess. So
yeah, definitely. So not just
give
the
it
forums.
a spin.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I am collecting questions on Reddit, on the official forum. I'm also looking at our blog post. You can comment there. There's Facebook. There's Twitter. So I'm trying to include everything and pass it on to the guys. But in our official forum, the developers are usually around, and you might just catch one of them.
Absolutely, I'm going to be checking the forums in the next few weeks, just because this is such an important transition for us. So both feedback on the editor, feedback on the asset system, and I'm sure everyone will be checking their little area of responsibility and making sure things are going smooth. So not during the holiday, but after.
Yeah, that's all for the next year. And I have some news about this as well, because we're actually working on revamping the forum and making it also better and easier. And there's a software update coming, and we will basically, what we are trying to do is also to make it easier for you guys to comment on stuff and to get in touch with our developers. So that's also a project that's coming for the new year, and I'm very excited about this. But yeah, we're not quite there yet, so a little more patience.
Definitely. I mean, the forums are my favorite way to interact with the community, because we can have deeper discussions about certain things. So I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome.
Nice.
Right. So you want to talk a bit more about Schematic, or?
As you wish. We can take some questions there, or we can just move on and demo Schematic and take all the questions at the end.
Okay. Okay, let me check if there are any questions about the assets browser. Oh no, that was just somebody trying to post a link to the documentation.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Twitch chat is usually too fast to be able to read.
It's a bit difficult to kind of filter all these questions right now. I had a couple of So I got a couple of questions from Reddit, for example.
Okay.
But one of the questions was, is CryEngine editor for Mac planned and Linux? And we kind of said...
Yeah, we covered this a little bit.
We covered this already. Has the editor code been merged to GitHub?
This is also planned for this release. Unfortunately, we couldn't really time it exactly with the release, but this is a very, very good thing to bring up. Again, so we mentioned that the release of this new editor is also about community plugins, about third-party plugins that could come and enrich the experience. So this, obviously, they need the source code to be able to do this. So this is still in the works. There's a few final touches we have to put on it, but it's coming. So it didn't have to be exactly at the same time, because we can give that. Programmers can just go and get that at any time from GitHub. So it's a little bit separate from releasing the actual new build of the engine. But yes, this is absolutely coming. So we're looking forward to seeing more developers involved in the editor and helping us with moving this forward.
Awesome. Yeah, I think. There's a question about physics support, and but I think we already said that as well, because it's basically will physics support replace the old CryPhysics, and it's not, right? We talked about this before, so
it's about choice.
Exactly, it's all about choice. So yeah.
Yes.
Will we probably be adding more physics libraries or options in the future?
Let's see how this one turns out first. Let's see. How people adopt it and what kind of issues there are. You don't want to go crazy first.
Yeah.
Not the first in the first step, But
I believe it's the first time that we're doing that with an external physics.
Yes, for physics, this is absolutely a new thing for CryEngine, and I think it's very exciting. Very exciting. As I said, there's so many different capabilities of these physics engines that there's not one size fits all solution. If you're doing a 2D game, then it's a completely different beast than if you're doing a 3D game already. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing things like this as well. Maybe integrating some 2D physics engine in there.
Awesome, yeah.
Could
definitely.
Be also
more variety. I mean, we already have a couple of templates. I mean, CryEngine is kind of known for great first-person shooters, but you can do so much with it, and we're like adding more functionality and making it easier for people to really go wild and achieve and do whatever they want.
Absolutely. I mean, I think these days you shouldn't limit yourself to what someone else has done with this engine. I mean, if I look at the games, even the games that we're making here at Crytek, they're wildly different. There's not only first-person games. There is top-down games. We're doing mostly 3D games, but I certainly believe you could make any sort of game, including 2D games, with CryEngine. And maybe you don't need all the features, but having something like Schematic, having something like a good asset management system, is still going to help you if you make a 2D game. So why not? Why not?
Awesome. All right.
Maybe let's demo the schematic then.
Any plans for Houdini engine support?
So in the end, with the FBX pipeline, we can definitely support Houdini, meaning that you can author content in Houdini. You can create, I don't know, procedurally create some meshes or some textures in Houdini. That works. In terms of Houdini engine, there are different things that people mean when they talk about Houdini engine, but
I didn't have a lot of context here.
Okay,
It was just any plans for Houdini engine support.
No, it's a really cool.
If you want to,
it's a really cool question because it really ties into the direction we're going with Schematic.
Yeah.
In the end, I don't think we are planning to support Houdini engine because if someone wants to do this, they can extend with the plugin system. They can create an editor plugin and a CRYENGINE plugin to support Houdini engine. But we're aiming to provide, let's say, an integrated solution that would do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So this would be similar to Schematic. Schematic is doing it at runtime. Let's say when you're in the game, it's going to read your nodes and do what you wrote with your nodes essentially. But the Houdini engine would be something that's more happening when you edit. It's just enabling you to write a script that generates, let's say, your level or something like this. So I definitely want to provide this feature. I think it's one of the best ways to build large amounts of content with small resources. It's very, very important for indie developers. As for actual Houdini engine integration, I don't think we will do that. But the door is open with the plugin system.
Okay. So you're basically free to do whatever you choose.
If you want actual Houdini engine, yes.
I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, somebody was just mentioning, yeah, Havoc is nice as well. Like we were talking about physics, so
exactly. So we're opening the door to all of this.
Yeah.
Havoc is a little bit less accessible for independent developers. It's a little bit more expensive product.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there are like every team, every project has a different needs and like expectations. So
absolutely.
Like I said, we're opening up.
And if someone wants to use Havoc, the fact that we did this physics integration, it means that we have. This is a little bit technical term here, but we have an abstraction of the physics engine. Anything to sit behind and to implement. So the game engine can work with any physics engine. You just have to write.
Yeah, I mean basically.
Basically.
I mean basically what we're doing is like we have the built-in physics support now, which means like it means like it's all prepared, it's all there. Like people can
for physics, yes, but
for physics, yeah.
The fact that we can now handle two different engines,
yes,
physics engines, means that we can handle any of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is why we did this. So we're able to handle.
The path is open.
Exactly. So now, again, you can write a plugin for Havoc, or you can request Havoc support. I don't know if it's gonna fit in our roadmap in near term, but why not? Why not? Awesome. Definitely, the door is open.
Very good. Okay, then maybe there are a lot of schematic questions, but then let's maybe just hop in and show a bit about schematic.
Let's show a little bit schematic. Yeah. We tried to make a themed demo here with a little Christmas tree. So maybe let's show the.
Thanks to Alex again for providing this.
This is Alex hard work in action. Maybe we should show first the lamp and what it does. I think that's a really good example of what you can build in Schematic. So Schematic is this separate editor, and you can essentially write scripts in the form of node graphs. So if you've done flow graph before, it's relatively similar. It's just building node graphs, and
I'm probably just asking that question now while we're at it and where we mentioned flow graph, because a lot of people are interested in knowing how flow graph and Schematic will probably interact, or if like why we're going for a completely new system in a way.
I think ultimately Schematic is going to be more interesting than Flowgraph as a tool for the future. It covers a lot more features and it can do a lot more things than Flowgraph. So I think what we want to do is keep supporting Flowgraph, but have a, let's say, longer-term transition to fully using Schematic for these kind of things. Flowgraph allows you to script behavior in your level, essentially. Whereas Schematic allows you a lot more. It allows you to script, first of all, an entity. I can create an entity and just place many of them in my level. But it can allow me to script almost anything. So it's not limited to certain usage.
So right now it's mostly about functionalities of entities, or
that release is mostly about entity functionality, but I definitely want to have more applications of Schematic that are not just the Schematic is like a programming language. It can do anything. As long as you apply it.
So it's really not limited to the basics that we have now right in there.
It's not limited to that. This is more, but this is one of the main things that you would want to do with it. So it's kind of like why we focus on this. Okay, but maybe we can explain a little bit what happens there. So there's this little construction graph there, and what happens is that there is a Boolean value that decides if the light is on or off. So first you create the state variable on the left, and you set it to public. And what that's going to do is that every time you place the lamp in the level, you can choose if that lamp is on or off. So when Alex selects this light, he can just say, okay, now it's off, right? And so this is really cool if you're a level designer. I mean, you just want to make the lamp off. You don't really care that this is going to change the material and change this and that property. So you can bundle all of this together in a nice schematic entity and just expose one Boolean in this case, and you're done. And then your level designer buddy doesn't really have to care, which I find really awesome. So let's go back to the graph there and show how that works. Okay, so when we construct, we check the value. We have this get that gets the value of that Boolean. Is it on or off? And you see, depending on what it is, it's gonna test this value, and you're gonna have branching behavior. So different things will happen if the lamp is on or is off. It might, I guess, it just sets a different model for the lamp, for the light bulb in this case. So it's just changing the light bulb. And let's look at the signal graph. Oh yeah, okay. There is also, I talked about this before, like entities and schematic entities are made of components. So in this case, this entity is composed of two components. It's composed of a model, the lamp model, and it's composed of a light component. And that light component, well, emits the actual light. And then there is a trigger volume. We're going to demo this a little bit in live, but this is just to show you what we have set up. So it's a really simple case. And let's go to the event graph just to show what's going to happen. Okay, so I guess on the left side you see the green node entering. That's when you're going to enter the trigger volume. So if something enters the trigger volume, what do? We get the state we get the current state of the lamp, I guess, and we flip it. And so then it's going to apply this new value to the light component, and it's going to change the mesh. So what do you think is going to happen if I enter the trigger volume?
Magic.
Not magic. I mean, we just said it. It's going to take the value and it's going to invert it, and it's just going to apply that new value. So let's look at it in action. When the little Christmas tree goes into the circle, the lamp turns off. Right? And it's just a really simple example that took us, 10 minutes to set up, and and there's even the door that's opening.
The door will open.
We should do a whole Christmas
definitely
Christmas themed game off of it, with all sort of cool lighting effects. I think I would be excited to work on this. So this is a really simple example, and the schematic editor also is in quite alpha state, I would say. There are certain things that don't work as expected, and there are not as many different nodes that you can choose from as we would like to. There are not as many components as we would like to.
But basically, if you have a programmer, you can add as many nodes as you want to.
You can add, you can add things that are specific to your game. And this is where you're really going to be seeing the power of this. Because if you're a programmer, you don't want to be doing everything up until the last detail of what happens in the game. This is really hard to do as a programmer, but you can just add a little bit of nodes, that let's say your level designer is missing,
Yeah.
and the level designer can really make it fit together because he knows what he wants.
Yes.
He or she knows what the final, experience is supposed to be. And I'm a programmer. I'm not really good at this, but what I'm really good at is programming. So I can write a node for you. I can make
So
this.
you basically prepare the functionality, and then your level designer can use this functionality wherever it's needed.
Exactly. So every time we give them a new node to play with, they become more powerful.
Awesome.
So at the end, they can do extremely complicated things in very simple ways by using Schematic. Yes, but as I was saying, this is kind of an early preview of this. So what we want people to keep in mind is that using it today is fine, but you don't want to be basing your entire game on this right now.
Right now, yeah.
You want to be testing it. You want to be giving feedback.
But so far, FlowGraph is still there, and you can still use FlowGraph, right?
Absolutely, FlowGraph and Lua scripting. This replaces a little bit more Lua scripting, but are still there. What we're trying to do here is again getting some feedback, getting this out there. It was in a state where you can use it and you can even do really cool stuff with it. It wasn't finished, but we still decided we want to get it as fast as possible into the hands of the community. And this is another sign we value their feedback.
I think the community appreciates it because it's really it's something that people have been asking for. People are used to stuff like Blueprint, and so now people are seeing this is definitely going into that direction.
Absolutely. This is setting a precedent again. Like I want to have more and more systems that are of this.
A bit more industry standard, maybe.
Yes, it's getting to be a standard, I guess. But I want to have a lot more systems that users can customize like this with nodes.
Exactly.
Very visual approach. You don't need a programmer to do this. Imagine if you're just a student or someone that doesn't know programming and you want to make a game. You can build almost everything with this.
Awesome.
You could build your whole game with this. If it's good enough. So this is exactly why we are going into this direction. So we're releasing it to the community for them to play around with it, give us feedback, and to even start building relatively complex things with it. But as I said, if you're in the final stages of your game, I wouldn't commit to this because we are still going to make dramatic changes to it.
Yeah, it's not
I think that's the key
final,
point. That's the key point.
So,
we're going to be making changes
to
this. So
if you have dependencies on this feature as it is now, you might have trouble if you upgrade, basically.
Exactly. You might, we might just decide that this was a terrible idea and we do it completely differently. And then all the work you've put in this may be lost. It's very unlikely, but I still want to warn people that it's an experimental release.
Yes.
It's an experimental release, but we're still very excited about it.
Everybody is very excited about it, as far as I heard. So
that's great. That's great. There's still quite a large array of nodes. At least all the basics are there. But even in terms of editor and user experience and how we want to present this to the user, we still need to do a pass. So I think the 5.4 really will see this as a much more mature system. And again, the asset system is the same. We're getting them there early. We want feedback. We want to show the direction that we're taking. We want to show good faith. We want to just keep improving on this.
To put the spot on some of the questions, I mean, we brushed some of the topics already, but the community had a couple of very spot-on questions. So what will be the main difference between Schematic C++ for gameplay scripting? Could we use inheritance in Schematic, for example?
Yes, basically you can do almost everything as you're doing with programming with Schematic, really. I mean, you could even be building complex functions, complex algorithms in Schematic and make that into a function that you can reuse somewhere else. So it's really the same idea as programming. You can make functions, you can make objects that you can inherit from. So, I don't know. An example of this would be this lamp. Okay, we take this lamp, and this lamp can turn on and off. But then I just want to extend this lamp. Let's say I want to make any lamp. It doesn't have to be that exact lamp with that model, right? I just want to make a lamp, and I want to apply the same logic to all my lamps. This is possible. So I make one lamp, but it doesn't know its model. It doesn't have a model yet. But it knows about all the logic of turning on and off and all the things that a lamp can do, which is just this. I mean, lamps are pretty basic.
Most lamps are.
Most lamps are pretty basic.
I don't want to overgeneralize.
Okay. Let's not be make, hasty judgment on lamps.
Let's be politically correct.
Some of them are pretty smart.
Definitely.
But okay, so you make your basic lamp there, and you can then inherit it. And for each different version, child version of that lamp, you would then set a model. So then I can have my, desk lamp, and the one that we had, or my nightstand lamp, blah, 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 would just be...
And you still have the whole set of functionalities that you can basically apply.
Exactly. And then if you want to go and add some more logic to all lamps, you just have to add it in one schematic graph, which would be the parent graph for all of them. So this is what inheritance means. It means that you can then reuse a lot of functionality. I guess that's the main idea.
Yeah,
reuse,
I think that was the main
reuse of functionality. But yes, if you're a programmer, if you know these terms, you can do anything that you're doing with C++. Not anything, but you get my point. Anything in principle, it's a fully featured programming language. So you should be doing anything that you can do in object-oriented programming language. You can do there. Anything that you could do earlier with Lua scripting, you can do there. So that's the goal.
Perfect.
That's the goal, to give a programming language, but something that's easier to use to designers and level designers and artists that are not necessarily used to the idea of programming, but they know how to use all these nodes. Like, this is very visual, it's very logical.
Yeah.
I mean, the person that asked about Houdini engine, it's another node-based editor, and you can see how these are not such a new trend, but they are a trend in content creation tools, and a trend we want to benefit from as well.
It's probably also because a lot of nowadays we have creating games has become more accessible in general. So because there are a lot of free tools basically, and everything has become easier. We have tutorials on the internet and stuff. So when you have a very small team, for example, people start to have a lot of jobs basically, because if you want to make a full game, you need all those positions to be filled. And if you are only 2 people, you need a lot of knowledge that has to come through you, and a tool that makes it as easy as possible for you to fulfill all those roles, basically.
Absolutely.
So I think this helps big time.
I mean, this helps bridge between all the roles. Now, the line is a little bit blurry of what's the role of a programmer and what's the role of a designer there.
Of course, yeah.
And this is great. This is what we want. This is where you can tailor how you work with CryEngine, tailor it to your people. If you have some designers that are very technical, let them go at it. Let them be as technical as they want. Let them dive deep into Schematic and make very complex stuff. If you have artists that are, more interested in just doing, their 3D art, and that's what they're good at, don't force them to use Schematic. Find what works for your team. I think this is where all these game engines are going right now, is that you can adapt to your team. That it's not really forcing you to work in any particular way. It's not forcing you to have programmers doing one thing and level designers doing one other thing. You can decide. I mean, you could decide that the programmers are writing the schematic as well. It's totally okay. So
everything is right there, and it just depends on your workflow how to use it.
Exactly. Awesome. What I would recommend from experience of having shipped a few games with such systems is to have designers play around with this as much as they want, but to have some sort of review process. So you can experiment with this a lot. This is also a great prototyping tool. You can prototype something really fast without having a program, without needing anyone. But when it comes to putting it in the game, if it's something that's not trivial, you might want to get the advice of a programmer so that they can tell you at least, okay, this is not going to make everything explode.
Is this fine? This is fine. Fire, 9. That's actually one of the questions. I think we answered one of the questions with this whole round as well. That was do you see Schematic as a method of programming without code?
Yes.
Or mainly focused on prototyping, early building?
Everything.
It's everything.
It's both. It's both, and that's what makes it very elegant.
Yeah.
You can even, some of these prototypes will even make it into the final game. So it's a very quick prototyping tool. It's a way to organize your workflow and to set the barrier between what is domain of programmers and domain of artists or designers. But it's also a way to make the entire game. You could be doing your entire game programming with Schematic.
Awesome.
And this is very much intended. Some people are doing that, and it's totally fine. Might not work if you're trying to do a AAA, very optimized console game or something like this. It might work just fine if you're doing a less ambitious project. So just try it out.
I see Alex is building more stuff. Maybe you want to switch to Alex again?
Yeah, I think he's just demoing what happened with this asset import. He's imported this lamp with several poses. I think this is why we made the lamp in the first place. And so just to demonstrate that this FBX import worked fine, and you could already use all the characters and animations that have been created, and this was just a drag and drop. I mean, before there were so many steps to set up a character. There were, I don't know, lots of steps. You had to open the character tool and set it up all properly, and assign all the animations and assign all the materials and textures and import all of these ones separately. And right now it's just a drag and drop.
It's just drag and drop of one item with all the meshes, all the animations, everything.
Yeah, exactly. You just do one drag and drop, and it's there, and it's already set up, and it's already working properly. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Let's see if we have more questions.
Yeah, definitely. Let's answer some questions, and let's see.
How fast is Schematic? I don't know what context that is.
I think that
Adam Sowinsky says, how fast is Schematic? It is driven by virtual machine. No.
Yeah, so Schematic is interpreted in that sense. So there are optimizations going on, but it's obviously not going. It's never going to be as fast as code. However, what you're doing in Schematic doesn't necessarily have to be as fast as code. What you were doing before with Lua, that was also a script engine, so that was also suffering from the same problems. However, with Schematic, we can do a lot of optimizations. I mean, in the future, you could even imagine that the Schematic code just generates code for the final game. You just take all your scripts and run them through a program that just generates that into code, and you would be very efficient there. There are plenty of room for optimization. I think the answer to that question, how fast, I cannot give right now because I don't have metrics
of course.
with me.
So that's back to you then. You guys have to provide us with the feedback how fast it is and what problems
I think it will also wildly depend on the kind of game.
Definitely,
the kind of things you're doing with the Schematic. But it's definitely meant to be usable. I mean, we haven't heard anyone complaining about flow graph performance, for example, or even Lua entity performance. It has some downsides, but it also has some upsides. So what you trade in performance, you gain in flexibility. And we can always keep iterating and keep optimizing on it, which is exactly why I said before, if you're in the final stages of your project, you don't want to be using schematic objects here and there because we're not certain of all the side effects this could have.
Yes.
But if you jump on board now and your game is targeting, let's say, even early summer or something like this, we'll have so much more work done on this that you can already be confident this will be a reliable system, optimized and smooth system. So this is what we keep working on the next iterations on the 5.4, 5.5 moving forward.
Oh, that's a bad one.
Okay.
I think it was already discussed in the chat, but maybe let's just talk about this, right? So can Schematic do shaders, allow you to create custom shaders?
No, that's not the goal of Schematic. We want to have node-based shader editors, and as I said, we want to have, in general, this kind of node scripting to permeate everywhere as we can and as we think about it. So don't get me wrong, I really want to have a node-based shader editing system, but that's not what this is trying to solve. This is trying to solve scripting of entities right now, and this is kind of going to cover this. But most certainly, we will be developing a shader scripting system. But that's not what it's meant to do. Not right now.
Awesome. Very good. I hope that answered the question. For Blue Fire Sound, I forget reading out the names, I'm sorry. So let's see. Unicorn Magic.
We can maybe do Unicorn Magic. We have a Christmas tree.
Yes.
At this point, everything is okay.
My first question is about Affinity Photo plugin. It makes no sense now, sorry. Somebody looked at the roadmap, I guess. But I don't exactly know what the question is.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So there's a question, but I don't know the scroll up. Renderer abstraction coming when?
Maybe they want to have a different renderer?
V-Ray renderer in CryEngine.
I'm not sure. I think this is also something that we could do. I mean, the same that we do with the physics engine. You could imagine having different sort of render backends. There are good reasons to do this as well. I mean, our renderer is made for games. This is what we do. This is what we're good at. But if you wanted to have something, for example, that something more similar to what they use to make movies. Let's say a software renderer, something that will take a year to make an image instead of
real time,
16 milliseconds. Then you could have that. I don't think that's on the short-term roadmap.
No, I don't think so. That's coming from Jan. He's asking for a friend. No, he's asking for the Slack community, probably.
Okay.
Because he is
our
Slack
community.
Yeah. He's he's in charge of our Slack community. So
okay.
There comes the real questions, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, okay, but yeah, he was asking about the renderer. I had more questions. Substance Designer native support ?
Yes, I mean, this is also part of what we want to do. Substance Designer is quite, it's becoming quite a ubiquitous tool, for 3D artists. How we're going to integrate this, it's unclear yet. Again, right now with the plugin system, there's also the possibility that, the people developing Substance Designer might want to do a CryEngine integration. If you're listening.
Who integrates who?
In general, it's kind of open as to which plugins we're going to develop ourselves. It's probably going to be the plugins that are most useful for our internal teams and the plugins that we see the most useful because they would be the most widely used softwares out there. So Substance Designer is actually a good candidate. In this case, there are good chances that we may integrate this. I think this will also be part of kind of the new material system. I don't want to spoil this too much because it's really undefined at this
Somebody
point.
already said, stop the spoilers, Sam.
Okay, really?
Then
then I'll stop the spoilers. But if we have a shader editor, like node-based shader editor, if we have a node-based material system, then clearly we would also spend the effort to integrate Substance Designer in this. Today, that is not the short-term focus, as I mentioned, but definitely.
It's basically it's on the list.
It's something on the roadmap. It's something on the medium-term roadmap for sure.
Cool. So, I think that's basically mostly it.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if we have anything else that we can show so far with our demo. I think we've covered most things.
I think so.
Yeah?
Yes. Let me check my mighty list.
Well, I think the most important message, if there's anything, any takeaway is go and download the new version.
And download the new version.
Exactly.
Upgrade your projects to 5.3. By all means, let us know how that works for you. Even if it doesn't work, we really appreciate the feedback. Because we need to know how this plays out, basically.
It's also good for you. I mean, if you've read the release notes, I doubt anyone has read the release notes because they're so long. And this is great. There's so much that went into this release. I mean,
yes.
I've lost count. I just read all the list of the
so many
fixes and improvements and new features.
And like I said, we haven't even we have just quickly brushed over some of them because we have to switch to Alex wants to say something. You can switch to Alex again.
Just download it.
Just do it.
All right.
Just do it.
Just get the CryEngine.
Alex said it.
Now we're gonna get a lawsuit from Nike. That's it.
Shit.
No, I mean just go and download the new version. Definitely, this new version is is worth it.
It is.
It's
it really is, yeah.
It's one of the best ones I've been able to work on, and I'm really happy about this. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's basically, I have seen that like also from the past things that we have been doing. Like I said, last time we showed you the FBX pipeline with the little rubber ducky. We have added so much features that we actually promised, and they are working, and it's really coming together quite nicely. So I think that's also why the community is so happy about this.
Oh, I'm super glad to hear this. I mean, these were all community favorites, I have to say.
Yes.
I've checked. The community has built also a board of requested features. That's been not something that we made, but I've seen a few of these points there that are really aligning into our roadmap. I mean, the asset browser, that was a request from the community, and for good reason. The schematic, that was a request from the community as well. The FBX pipeline, that was a request from the community. So if you look today, our releases, I think they're very much in line with the community.
Which is what it's supposed to be, right? I mean, we're not like we are developing for the community, and the community gives back as well, which is awesome, right? And we are giving them all means and ways to do this.
Exactly. This is actually a good point. I mean, you mentioned the bug report on GitHub.
Yes.
But we briefly touched about contributions. But right now we're in a position where we have a lot more time and a lot better way, I would say, to deal with pull requests. And pull request is what happens when someone external wants to give us back some work that they've done on the code side. Yes. So if you fix a bug, if you want to fix a bug, if you want to make any improvement, if you look at our source code and find something that needs to be fixed, anything, this is also available, and this should make it a lot easier to integrate your fixes back into the main version and, get them released with the next one. So your name can also be on the credits.
Definitely, yes, because we will give credits. And also I have there's actually got a bit ahead of ourselves, but I'm in preparing a blog post about how the pull requests work and how to make this more smoother and easier, because in the past there have been a couple of dependencies, but now everything's better.
Yes,
and for the new year, there's more information coming on the pull requests and how you can contribute and help us getting better, basically, and add to the community.
Yeah. So this is being set up, but really we're making sure we're targeting your needs. At the same time, we're also trying to be one step ahead of you guys and already have an answer for these problems. So don't get me wrong. All these questions that you asked me is, none of them come as a surprise. The substance designer, the shader editor, these are things we know. Yeah. These are things we have on our radar, and we're not blind. We're not rushing into our roadmap without knowing what's needed. We're really trying to aim for, let's say, for the most logical way to get there, the best way to get there. So I'm really hopeful.
R&D Lab says, good job, Cry-Nic. Wow. Comes from Learn2P numbers. ToothSpace84 says, thank you guys, 5.3 is great.
Glad that people are enjoying it already. It's been only a few days, right?
Yes. So it hasn't been there for long, but
nice to see that people are already jumping on it. It's and I get it. It's scary to jump on a new version. I mean, I'm always scared when I download a new version of anything out there. Always scared that something is going to break. So big respect to people that are jumping early.
Pele1982 says, CryEngine makes me happy.
Nice. Well, I can go home happy then.
Yes, we love to make people happy, basically. Good. Yeah, like I said, if you have a project, also approach us. If you're working on a project in CryEngine, basically the community is there. We really want to help you guys above and beyond that also. So we are gathering your feedback. We try to help you with your projects and also give you a signal boost. If you're having things going on, if you're making a game or whatnot, just signal boost us. We don't know everything that's out there, because with the pay what you want model, everybody can download CryEngine and do something. Just let us know about it. Alex wants to say something. Mar. Chickening out.
You're going to ask somebody to marry you.
To marry? Oh! No. So yeah, basically, like, let us know that you are out there and let us know what you're doing. We were more than happy to give you a boost. You're the community. We're doing this for you, with you. We're together in this, basically. There are a couple of great projects who have done this already. And also, like, I got a question basically where somebody said, so what's the next game that's been coming with CRYENGINE 5?
Okay.
And basically, so what we have on the line at the moment in regards of indie games, there are two great projects who have already been switching, and that's War of Rights, which you definitely should check out, you guys. Basically, it's about civil war.
Okay.
I'm not into civil war actually, but War of Rights is a really great game, so you should check these guys out. They also have provided a lot of feedback so far because they actually switched, and I think Deceit as well, which is a survival horror game, like co-op game, which you should also try. We're stacking Christmas trees there.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
Really, like, we can't, like, yeah. Alex is
Christmas triggering.
Yeah, show the Christmas triggering, please. This is hilarious.
No, that's it.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear that some licensees are switching to the new version. I think that's what they ought to do. Again, not if they're close enough to their final release date, but if they're not, then I don't see any reasons not to do this. I mean, they will.
Yeah, both
will strongly benefit from
yeah,
this.
exactly. And like I said, both games that I mentioned, they already, like, one of them already released in early, like, the beta, and the other are in early alpha, I think.
Okay, wow.
So that is, like, and it worked. So
nice.
I'm confident.
Congratulations!
Like, it's really great. So
I might check them out.
Yes, please do. And yeah, basically, I'm having one last swim. If there are any questions?
Yeah, we still have time. We can answer a few questions, and then it'll be time to go on Christmas holiday.
Oh yeah, there are some tutorial requests. I won't read them out now, but basically, yeah, tutorial requests, keep them coming. Also, like, on the forums, on Twitter, on Facebook, like I said, all outlets, basically, we're listening. And we're trying to make it happen as good as we can. We already have over 100 tutorials on our YouTube channel if you want to check that out. So if you can't find what you're looking for there, just let us know, because we really want to bring this together. If you are making tutorials, let us know as well. We also feature tutorials on our YouTube channel, like external tutorials. So just bring it on, basically. We try to bring it all together. We appreciate what you guys do.
And remember that all the small features that we showed on the stream today, they are fully documented. So don't just look at the stream and think, okay, do I have to work with this now? There is a full tutorial video with example content for Schematic that we've been. This has been also the hard work of Alex. I really want to outline it, that he's been putting a lot of effort into these demos. And it's all out there. You can download it. You can download the content. You can check it out yourself and deconstruct what we've done. And I've made a little internal presentation here for the asset system, and we're also going to cut that and try to make
that's also coming.
Tutorial video out of this. All these new features, they right now they're documented, and we're going to also get the tutorial support, and we want to be there on the community platform side to react more live if you have any questions, any feedback.
Awesome. So, right, and I would say,
okay, let's wrap it up.
That's basically it. Thank you guys for being here. Like, thank you for staying with us, for asking awesome questions, basically. Thanks for contributing so much. Like, big thanks to the community so far for your feedback that you have been providing. And also for everybody who makes games with CRYENGINE and tutorials and all the stuff. We're happy to have you. And with that, I would say happy holidays to everybody. And we see each other in 2017.
Till the next time. Happy holidays.
Bye.